You use zero for
I did.
payroll.
I did it for everything.
Right, but in terms of like forecasting and budgets.
Yeah, it was a button you click, just like in QuickBooks. But it was a
But
lot more
you
streamlined.
didn't plan a budget. So since the last time we were here in Commerce and Chill Land, the family's gotten bigger. There's a new addition to the family.
I was like, what?
We have a new niece.
Espinosa.
So
Yeah, we've got another little one, so that's more laundry to do.
there you go. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my mom and she was doing laundry with the fam today. So I don't know about you. When I was younger, my parents really used their village. So I had some older aunts who would watch me and my brother. And they're wonderful. But when we go to their house, they always watch things on TV that we never want to see. And you know,
Just because they're older.
can we watch cartoons? They're like, no.
Oh, they have no interest in cartoons.
So they watch shows like General Hospital, The Young and the Restless. Why? Because they were into the soap operas.
That was a throwback. General Hospital.
But we have our own soap opera.
Yeah.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene.
Today we wanted to talk to you about how the soapbox came to be. So today's episode is soap opera, a.k.a. the soapbox. The story of the soapbox. So tell me, how did we come to? No, don't tell me, but
Like you, I'm saying, tell you. Like
tell the
tell you
people
how we
in
came to
Commerce
be.
and Chill
Weren't you
Land
there?
how we came to start the laundromat.
Well, if we talk about the soapbox became a spinoff of the self-service laundromat that we opened and been running for numerous years since, like, I can remember being a little lad to running around putting coins in the machine. But when we started running the self-service part, was it like late 2015? We took over 100% on the self-service side. Then we realized it was around like 2016. We started doing more and more to drop off because we weren't doing dry cleaning in. So we were doing more and more to drop off. I think at one point we were like doubling every month. And we realized that obviously it's two different types of clientele that we're servicing, but trying to service the drop off clientele out of that location was just wasn't optimal. So then we started looking at what's the best ways to be, more efficient, or we could get better at it. And then the space across the street, the lady who was a seamstress who was renting the space moved, and then I saw the landlord and the broker was outside and was hanging up our for a lease sign. And I was like, I went over there, looked at it, then I called you and was like, the space across the street is for lease. Like, you were like, go find out how much it is. And then from there, like, it was the soapbox baby was born.
So you kind of started a little bit in the middle, because I don't know if people who don't know us intimately would know, because you're like, oh, we had the self-service started and then blah, blah, blah. Like, can you give the people the full context of how we came to the self-service side? Because if there's someone out there who's trying to start a business from an idea, what are some of the steps that they need to take, and what can they borrow from how we went from Koch brothers to the soapbox?
Well, we started with the self-service Koch brothers. Originally, it was from my dad and my uncle, starting it from when I was a kid. And then I've worked there in and out. And then you were there, like, kind of popping in and helping out when we were together. Not really helping out, but like come by and like drop off stuff or check on. Like, it was just kind of in and out. No, that was afterwards. I'm sorry. I'm totally mixing up the timeline. I'm totally messing this up. But because we were just talking at that time when I was like, I don't know, back there for like the third time or whatever. Like family dynamics. I've worked with my family in a business like, I don't know, at least 3 different times. I was like, yeah, I've had enough. I'm out, and then came back. So 2015, when I came back for the final time, is when my dad was still there. And then we approached him to make him the offer for him to retire and us to take it over 100%. So how we evolved into the self-service side of Cope Brothers and Sons Laundromat. And then from there, the soapbox came out of that.
So if just to help anybody who, again, is starting from scratch, even though Waleed's father and his uncles had started the laundromat and he had been around them and worked in the laundromat, when we thought it was a good time for his father to retire, we still had to go through the basic business setup. We had to set up an LLC.
Yeah, like not to stop you, but to paint the picture so it's a little clear, we started from, I don't want to say zero, but we pretty much started from like 0.5, because it was the initial thing was we were just taking over. We didn't take it over as this, oh, it's running, here it is. Like he was working in the store, but we actually closed for like what, 2 months, I think it was? 1 month. So from the transition time, we put signs that was like, stores closing, we'll be reopening.
Under new management.
Yeah, that was a whole nother, oh gosh. But we, so the way we walked in would have been if someone saw a for rent sign on like
an existing
business and it was closed, but not for long. And then they went in there and said, okay, I want to lease the space and the business. And then they put their own spin on it. So as you were saying, had to open up the LLC.
We had to open up the LLC, file with all the appropriate state agencies, get a laundry license.
Yeah,
because we were operating as a new entity, we couldn't use the existing license for the business. We had to register EIN number. So for tax purposes, we had to register with the Department of Labor so that we could have employees. We had to get a certificate of authority with the tax agency for the state,
sales tax,
so that we could collect and remit sales taxes. We also had to hire brand new people.
All brand new people. Yep. Insurance.
We went about getting a new brand, a new logo.
Yep.
Since it was a different name, and branding that went along with that, and then marketing the business from scratch. Because even though people in the neighborhood were familiar with the Cope name and Cope Brothers Laundry, they were coming looking for Daddy Cope.
Right.
And then they come and see us and they like,
what are you doing here? Like, there's a problem with my stuff. Go get your dad. I'm like, we're under new management.
They're like, yeah, no, stop playing. Where's your dad?
I'd be like, I guess home. I don't know. My stuff is not working. You gonna fix it? Yeah. What's the problem?
So what was it about what you had observed as a young man, as a child, in watching your dad and your uncles that made you think that it was worth continuing the next generation of laundry business?
I don't want to say, well, the community is the business is in a great community. And when I say great community, I mean not talking about economic wise and when you look at the trends and all the data when you want to open a business. I'm just talking about the community as far as the people, like the goodwill, the relationships, how supportive the people in the community are. So that was a given. But what really I think kind of ticked it in. I mean, you could speak to it too, because like I mentioned it to you and then we kind of had a few discussions and then we kind of just like jumped on a horse and started riding it without even like getting the saddle and all the other necessary stuff. We were just like, we're in it. But what?
I'm listening.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. I think I was looking more of the opportunity. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of, we didn't go right into this. We were doing self-service as soon as we started, but we didn't really expand and go into it as deep as we are now with the soapbox. And like, I don't even think we're as deep as we're just scratching the surface. I think there's a whole lot more bandwidth and more market potential just in the neighborhoods that we service now. So for me, it was more of the potential that was there, that was untapped. And then the lack of services in the neighborhood for self-service and then pickup and delivery. I think those were the three things I was just like, yeah, we should do it.
Well, part of it was also the story, right? Because you'll often hear, especially like on social,
second generation,
that storytelling is what really generates sales. And if you have a compelling story, that will lead people to your door. And I think in the experience that we had here at Johnson Security, the fact that we're a family business and that we're a multi-generational business, that really resonated with a lot of people.
It did.
So on October 4th, 2008, when we lost my dad, Johnson Security had 16 employees, 2 clients, and 3 contracts. That's right, 16 employees, 2 clients, and 3 contracts. And my brother and I looked at each other and we said, what are we gonna do?
And so when we saw success from one business as a family multi-generational business, it gave us the ammunition or the fuel to take another business that was also a family business, a generational business, and try to put our own spin on what success could look like.
Yeah, like putting the next generation's flavor on what was done in the previous generations, but still carrying on that legacy or tradition and history.
So 2015. Flip the switch. No longer Koch brothers, now Koch brothers and Sons.
Yeah, with an S.
What was the vision? What was the vision that you had for the business at that time?
So it's interesting, and it makes me think of this DM going back and forth with myself and Christoph David when I had put a post.
Shout out to Chanel Harmon Davis.
Yeah, when I put up this post about when we were talking about one time about having business plans and just taking action and doing it. So she was like, yeah, Waleed, here, we've been in business like 14 years and like we're just fleshing out our business plan now. So when you ask me that, I can't really say it was, what I was really thinking or one particular thing. I was like, oh, we should do it. It was more of like, we should just do it. Like, I was like, it's an opportunity. It would be cool. I probably was running in the house talking to you or on the phone, like excited. You're probably like, yep, here we go again. Yeah, I just looked at it. It was an opportunity for us to carry on the tradition as you brought up. But then it was just like a whole new venture for us to just grab by the horns and just run with it.
So understand that, not that Waleed isn't visionary, but when he sees opportunity, he's more action oriented. And yes or no?
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. I'm like, I might write a few things down, but you're not gonna catch me right now.
You might not ever see him read what he writes down.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch me writing like in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, writing a business plan is cool, it's sexy and all that. But then in real life, I'm just like, yeah, bro, can somebody hit the start button so we could get this going and just like, can we adjust as we go and we can make notes while we go and then tweak it and then at the end come up with a written plan so we can have a blueprint for the next time we do this.
I say all of that to say that if you're looking to start a business, don't wait until you have the perfect business plan, because there is no perfect business plan. However, I encourage you to have either someone on your team who knows how to at least sketch out a plan.
Yeah, I mean, like make an outline at least.
An outline, a vision.
Write down your expenses. What are you looking at me like that for?
Because that's not you.
No, I'm just saying.
No, even when it comes to doing expenses and stuff, you're like,
I do it, but I'm like, I want to.
But you don't do it all the way. You don't do it to completion.
I use QuickBooks.
I
like report.
You use QuickBooks now. When we started,
I use Xero.
Yeah, Xero as in not much.
No, Xero as in the software Xero with an X.
You use Xero for payroll.
I did it for everything.
Right, but in terms of like forecasting and budgets.
Yeah, it was a button you click, just like in QuickBooks. But it was a lot more streamlined.
You didn't plan a budget.
Nah, I straight.
So if you
Omaha 17, I was into shotgun. Like I was like,
if you look at your budget retroactively, it's not really a budget for planning sales.
No, it wasn't. It was a budget. I was like, we got how much money? Then I would look at the month and be like, we burning this much? I'd be like, that's going to last us this much. I got to hurry up and do more. Yeah. So she's right.
So, like I said, if you're more like this guy
Just get
here
somebody who
in the
compliments
shotgun, if your business plan or your budget is Omaha 17, make sure that you either have someone on your team who will take the time to at least outline what the plan is. Make sure that you have someone who will look at the numbers proactively and prospectively, so you're not looking at everything in reverse. Or if you are not able to do that yourself, that you seek wise counsel. You go to Small Business Development Center or any of these other organizations that provide small business support, like SCORE, the SBA.
Those are good.
Yeah. Yeah, because I go to SCORE and I'd be like, oh, look, we have a laundromat, blah, blah, blah. They'd ask me for something. I go to him and he'd be like,
what do they want that for?
I don't mess with them.
But even if we were like, let's say 4 times the size it was, and you'd be like, oh, here's the tax returns. Like, they don't dig down as deep as when you're small. They're going to be like, oh, let me see your tax returns.
Oh, wait, you spent $300 on marketing? How dare you?
What was it you spent the marketing on? Oh, you brought Post-its? What were you doing with Post-its? Like, I'm like, bro, like, we use them, write notes on. Like, I'm trying to forecast and budget, so I use Post-its. Yeah, it's really interesting how it's done. But, you play the game, get better at it, grow and get big, so then you can kind of redefine the game.
Sure, there's balance. So you didn't really have a real vision per se.
I had a vision, like I wanted us to do it and be like really good and do the service a way that it wasn't being done in the neighborhood, and like give quality service. But it wasn't a vision like a vision.
Is that a vision or is that more like a snapshot? Like you had a Polaroid.
It wasn't like a vision plan like you see some people, they have it all written out. But I had a vision. I was like, we're going to do this, and like we're going to make this good, and we're going to service the community, and we're going to do. Yeah. Go
ahead. No, so just for anybody who's like me, right? That like some level of specificity. That there is a Polaroid, because if you say
specificity, okay, go ahead.
You say, "Oh, we want to do this."
You be a little shady on the specs too, sometimes. But
that's
go ahead.
not true.
Yeah,
you just don't want to hear what I say.
You're more disciplined on the specs than I am. There's no question about that. I'm like, is third down, and like we got to go third. It's 3rd and 20.
Right,
and I'm like, shotgun.
But then you at the same time, you're like, what's this? What's that? What's this? What that? You ask me for stuff that you don't even do yourself.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But that's why
the C is for contradiction.
That's why you need a partner to balance you, right? There's balance. And it works.
So you knew what you wanted for the business, but the business took a significant turn when we went across the street.
It did. In a good way. But it turned, when you say took a significant turn, what do you mean? Like the way we had to operate it, or like the focus, or how we had to change our procedures? Because now we're running 2 locations they're both in the laundry industry, but they both do completely different things in the industry. So it's running 2 separate things in the same industry, but they're kind of going in opposite directions.
So it would be, for example, like if you had a Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins in one.
Those things. Yeah.
Right. So the way that you prepare the bagels isn't the same way that you prepare a pint of ice cream.
No,
the way that you do the coffee is not the same as you get an ice cream cake. And so operationally, you're going to have to tweak how you train people.
Yep, we did.
How you communicate with your customers.
We did that.
How your facility's footprint is laid out.
We had to deal with that.
So just
several times.
Just for your information, we literally had people pushing laundry from one side of the street to the other.
Yeah, we did, because we would wash and dry it on one side, and then fold and put it in carts, wrap everything up, and then wheel it across the street and fold it and package it and store it for clients to come pick up.
In Brooklyn, New York. Pushing clothes across a busy street with no
snow, rain,
no street light.
We did it. The team was like, snow. They'd be pushing the carts across the street. I'd be like, they're gangster.
So what in that transition? What was the one thing that you were that I was able to provide to help the most?
Well, I would honestly say if the soapbox probably wouldn't have materialized as fast as it did, or the way it did, if it wasn't for you giving the support. Like when I call you with the crazy idea and you'd be like, that sounds good. It's hot. Do it. And I was like, the broker, it's a space across street. What do you think? And you were like, we should get it. Find out how much it is. And then when I talked to the broker, they said how much it was. You was like, oh, like that's doable. And then when we, looked at the space and we had to build it out, and I'm thinking back to when we were building it out. I'm just like calculating what the rough costs were going to be, because we used the same contractor we were doing some work with on one of the on a rental unit with. So one was you kept the fire going, like you kept the energy going. Two, you threw more gas on the fire to get it going faster, like in the early stages initial. And I'd be like, oh, we should try this or we should do it. So I say highly supportive. And then two, you came up with like, and I can't think of off the top of my head, but like different ideas or ways we should do things, especially when it came to like the finances. And then introducing to other people, Mike. Like, because Mike, when we started talking, you were talking to Mike.
Mike B.
I didn't meet Mike till later on, after you had already started a relationship with Mike. And then come to find out, Mike was in the laundry industry with, when we were in self-service. I guess still now one of the competitors in the industry, that he worked with them for numerous years and was very successful. So then that was awesome that you were able to, hook us up with mentors, for the soapbox, not just for, us in general as entrepreneurs and in business, but for that particular business field that we're in.
That's not even an answer I was expecting.
Oh.
I was expecting the name. Because I came up with the soapbox.
Oh, you came up with the name and you came up with the colors too.
Oh.
Well, you when we submitted the name to the designers to come up with the logo, a couple of them had like used some like blue, pink, and something else. And then when you saw the pink one, you was just like, that is like, I was kind of feeling it because I was like, oh, the whole pink and like the black. And you were like, that's it. Like when you said it was good, I was thinking it, but you said it, co-signed it. But yeah, you came up with the name like totally 100%.
I mean, it wasn't like me by myself. Like I just woke up and we were like, the soapbox.
I don't even remember how you came up with it.
Remember, I had a pack of Post-it notes. And you
put them. You was writing it and put them all over the wall,
on the doors, on the panel doors.
Should have saved that. That would have been great for the archives.
And then like a couple of them fell off, so we knew, like literally fell off.
Yeah, they literally like they were up there so long. Like
we knew that those weren't the names, and then a couple of the names weren't available when we
like the domains,
domains, and then a couple of the names were just out there in the public, and it was like, no, not quite what we're trying to convey.
Yeah.
So.
And it kind of worked out too, because when you chose it, when we look at all the different companies we have, they all have the same two letters in common, that the S and the B. So that was really interesting too. And it just played right into it. So it's like, it was all these little connections too, like the phone number. When I was like, oh, what phone number should we? I had a list of phone numbers from the VoIP provider, and I was like, which number to use? And you were like,
voice. That's VoIP, voice over IP. So if you're like you
phone system,
plug your phone into the internet or use your internet signal for your phone.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, what number to choose? And you was like, that one right there that has 110 in it, which is the same address.
It was the street number
for the store. So I was like,
yep.
Yeah. So like a lot of things. So but the name, and I totally forgot about the name.
Okay, so we're kind of running out of time. Are there any tips that you'd like to share with the folks out in Commerce and Chill Land, and shout out to BronxNet as well, for what things they can do if they're starting a new business and already have a business, and how they can successfully extend or grow their brand within the same industry?
I'm going to say this, like the same thing that kind of resonates we said earlier. It's just like doing and trying different things with the business. There's probably like a ton of ideas you have about stuff that you want to incorporate in your business or try. And I'm not saying you should do all of them. Like you should do a few things and really do them well. And like when you feel you're comfortable, I don't want to say you've mastered them, but yeah, let's say, if you've mastered them, you got them under your belt and you're like, I'm really crushing these 4 things that my business is focused on. You might say, hey, like I want to start like a subscription program or a referral program or something else you want to add to it that you've been thinking about that will add another dimension to your business that will be good for your customers, your clients, as well as your team and at your business. I would say try them. Like, even if you do some like preliminary stuff or you do it on a small scale, like, you know, they say soft openings, like try those different things that you have. Like try one or two, you know, try one that doesn't work, then try another one. But
Right.
don't get caught up in the rut of just doing the same thing over and over. I kind of got comfortable with that. And, you know, we were kind of talking about it early before we started the podcast. Like you can easily get comfortable if things are a certain way and
Right.
you're not pushing yourself or the business to grow and do more. Cause you're like, oh, it's just doing enough. Like I'm comfortable with what it's doing. So yeah, I would say just keep trying or adding new things to your, you know, existing business. And you said for someone who wants to start a business, start. Like whatever it is, like you got an idea, like you want to, you know, deliver ice cream with drones, like start, get a drone, get some ice cream cones and like fly them around and see how it works. Like deliver it to your neighbor, like deliver it to you know, your cousin or your sister, your brother in the next room. I don't know, but just start.
Right. In the words of the immortal Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. It's just that simple. And it helps when you have a supportive partner
100%.
or a strong team that'll hold you accountable and won't let you just sit there and keep talking.
Those two are important. But, you know, in the beginning, it's probably just going to be you and maybe, you know, a friend or a spouse or a family member. So it's good to have someone who supports you, but you might not in the beginning have someone in your immediate circle who's going to support you because you might be the one that's breaking out of that circle to do something different that everybody in your circle is not doing. So you kind of got to stay strong for a minute by yourself, but you got to seek out other people and other ways to consume stuff that's going to be positive and help you stay in that mindset to keep pushing you forward when things going to get tough. They're going to get hard. So, yeah.
And to that end, I would encourage you, if you don't have a partner, if you don't have spouse, if you don't have a significant other or family that's involved in business with you, that you connect with other business owners, whether it's some type of organization, some type of training program, some neighborhood, a chamber of commerce,
Online,
something, but that you have community and support from other people who are either doing what you're doing or especially people who are doing things that you want to be doing, who are in a space that you want to occupy, who have achieved levels of success that you're trying to achieve so that you don't have to recreate the wheel from scratch.
Yeah, we just had that discussion in the
You can climb on the wheel and get it started faster.
Paint it a different color. Just put some oil on it, make it spin faster, but don't try and make a new one.